I will lightly clamp up the cabinet to kind of get everything in place, and I will use a little hammer, rubber hammer, to tap it in place, make sure everything is getting lined up the way I want. I like to check for square just to make sure the cabinet is going to wind up square once I get it assembled. Here I'm just pre-drilling for some screws. Now I did not apply any glue to the edge of this cabinet. I feel like the screws will be enough. I've assembled other cabinets in this fashion and I've never had a problem with them. So I think glue would be overkill, but if you feel more secure in adding some glue there, it's not going to hurt anything. I've lightly clamped the top of the face to the piece, and I'm just doing a little tappy tap with the hammer, getting everything lined up, and I will pre-drill for some screws and get everything screwed together. Getting ready to place the back in the cabinet, I have a rabbet along these three edges, and as long as my back is square, once I put it in, it'll square up the cabinet. It'll help square it up. The reason why I like to do a rabbet on the back like this, a lot of people will just apply it to the face of the cabinet and then nail it in or screw it in. And the only thing that's keeping the cabinet from racking back and forth is those screws and nails, which you put a lot in, that's a lot of resistance. But I like to use the structure because this wood is pressed up, is tight in here, so this cabinet cannot move now. Even without any fasteners in it, this cabinet cannot move. It will not rack back and forth. So that's the reason why I like to do it this way. It just, to me, I think it makes a stronger cabinet. So I'm going to screw this in. I'm not using glue on any of this. I don't think it's really necessary. That's my neighbor's dogs. They want to be on film too. Bowed out just a little bit. I need to sink that in. Roll this onto its side. Get the screws on the other side here made. Put it in and we'll have ourselves a cabinet. I like to do is cut a piece of plywood to fit inside the case that will hold the drawer slide in position at the height that I want. I will use this piece of plywood on both sides. That way I can ensure that the drawer slide is the same height on each side. With these drawer slides, there is a slot going this direction. That's the one I always like to use because I have my height. I very rarely have to adjust my height any. But if I need to adjust for the drawer to go back a little bit further, that's why I like to use those. It gives me a little bit more of adjustment. But I usually try to place my screw in the center of that slot. But I place the drawer slides to where they're even with the front of the cabinet. And then that way, when I go to install the drawer, that's where the drawer will be. You can see how they have a slot right here. That is also on this slide back here. It's on this one here. So you can see I got a screw right there in the slot. So that way I can make any adjustments forward and back. With the plywood, I've never really had to adjust up and down for a cabinet. Now, if you've noticed, I started with the top slides on the cabinet. Now I can use the same piece of plywood. I can cut it down to do the second drawer. Here you can get a close-up view of those slots that I'm talking about in the drawer slide. And I also like to try to get the drawer slide to where it's at the face of the cabinet. That way, when the drawer closes, it'll be tied up against the cabinet. I marked out the hole locations in the caster with a pencil, and I'm just pre-drilling the holes at this time. I'm going to install these casters with a 1/4 inch bolt
with a lock washer and washer. And what I'm doing at this time, I'm just actually tapping the plywood with a threaded tap. I bought this several years ago from Eagle America, I believe it was, and it holds the threads really well. I've stopped using threaded inserts when I can, and I just use this. After I get the threads tapped, I will use my impact driver to drive in some 1/4-inch bolts. Now I have a lock washer and a regular washer on these bolts to kind of help keep them in place. But I'll put one bolt in and then kind of line up everything and then secure the bolts down once everything's lined up. I'll do this to all 4 casters.